Episode 1. I've only recorded this about 100 times. Doing a podcast is probably one of the easiest things to do, yet the hardest thing to do. But I figured for the first episode, I should spend a few minutes introducing myself and how this idea was crafted up. So, welcome to Bowls and Barrels Company. All right, guys, let's get this first episode on the road. I am Jess. I'm the founder of Bowls and Barrels Company Apparel and the podcast. I'm from upstate New York. I currently live with my husband, Dustin, and we own a little 5-acre farm with 3 horses and 2 puppies. And by puppies, I mean they're both full grown, but one's a Australian Shepherd named Irwin, and my other one is my moose dog, who is a black and tan coonhound. I started this whole horse girl thing when I was 5 years old. My aunt had a mare named Ruby, and she lived out in Buffalo, and my grandmother took my brother and I out there to visit our aunt, and during that visit, she plopped us on her horse. And I still have the photo from that day. I was absolutely smitten, ear-to-ear smile, and I think in my head at 5 years old, I decided that horses were going to be my forever. Now, I was not born and raised in a rodeo horse family. It couldn't be any further. Like, yes, my aunt had horses, but she lived about 2 hours from us, and I really only saw her like a few times a year, maybe. But my father, I think if I could speak for him, I would say he doesn't hate them, but he doesn't really care for them either, for horses. And I'm pretty sure that the day that I said I love horses, I broke my father's heart. And I think he always thought that I would outgrow this horse thing. And to his discontent, I definitely did not. I am still very much in love with horses. But with that being said, a lot of what I have done over the years and learned, and when it comes to horses, has been just me being a forever student to the horse and to everyone around me who has that experience. Like I said, I didn't have a family that was in the industry or rodeoed or trained horses. So really everything that I've learned is just because I'm not afraid to ask questions or to read a book or watch YouTube videos. So that's a little bit of my background when it comes to horses. And as much as I wish that, growing up, my family took interest to that, it wasn't until I was 12 that I finally convinced my family to let me buy a horse. I had like $800 to my name after working for a farmer one summer, and I bought my first horse. And I'm really surprised that my father let me do that, because he's always saying that he's worried about me getting kicked in the head by a horse or getting hurt, which, I mean, I have a lot of accidents on these animals and I never tell him about it because I don't really need him worrying. But that's the risk that we take when it comes to, being around these animals. They're 1,200 pounds of, free will. So we're bound to get hurt. And I explain that to him. And, if I'm going to die of something, I wouldn't be upset if it was by the hoof of a horse, that is. So it's been a long time since I was 5. I'm 31 now. Still that crazy horse girl, so I guess it's safe to say I never grew out of it. Even though my path has been anything but weaved towards a life full of them, as I'm sure many of us are, we wish we could wake up and do nothing but ride and be around them. Unfortunately, it hasn't been my path since graduating into adulthood. I joined the Air Force back in 2014, and come June of 2026, I will have given 12 years to the Air Force. In that time, I've worked on aircraft, I've learned skills in scheduling, did some time as an instructor, and now I'm in some strange part of my career where I'm not sure really what I do. I think I'm a supervisor. I think I'm a quality assurance manager. I think I run the warehouse. I don't really know. It's this weird hybrid. I don't think they know what to do with me. But a year ago, I decided that I wanted to try something completely new in the Air Force and, just try to take the next step in this career. And I can say that it's been an experience. Maybe someday I'll open up about it. But let's just say that this past year has really led me to reconsider my life and what I want to do with it. As Chief put it to me this past weekend, this was a catalyst for a life change. So I guess I'm just going to embrace it. So it's been a year in this new position, and the amount of reflection that I've had this year has been truly life-changing. I realized I was pushing myself further from the life I really wanted to live. I've really invested a lot in the Air Force. I even spent the last couple years trying to become a pilot in the Air Force. And anyone who has pursued that route knows that it costs a lot of money and time. And obviously, here I am. I did not succeed at that goal. Again, a conversation for another time. But anyways, so, I look up to people like Fallon Taylor, Haley Kinzel, and now my new favorite, Trisha Aldridge. If you don't follow her, you probably should. But I haven't even been living remotely close to how they would, or making decisions to achieve a life that they have. So here I am with 3 amazing horses in the barn, 2 of which that I think have the potential to be horses of a lifetime. And I'm just squandering them. I've been so engrossed in this military career that I've dedicated so much time to that, honestly. And it no longer brings me the joy that it did when I first joined. So that leads me to the question of what am I doing? This summer, I finally wanted to make some changes and get serious with my horses again. I signed up for 2 clinics. One was in July, and it was a in-hand green horse clinic, just starting a horse out. And the other was in late August, and it was a cattle and obstacle course clinic. Now, I have to do a plug for him here real quick since we're on the topic, because he's an absolutely amazing human and horseman, and that is Luke Reinbold. If you aren't following him, look him up on your socials and the YouTube. And if you ever get a chance to attend any of his clinics, I promise that you won't be disappointed. This year I've done 2 and had life-changing moments at both. It is truly worth every penny, and you should go give him a follow because he is just a real life and down-to-earth horseman. And I think he really speaks to a lot of us. So definitely give him a follow. But now circling back, going to these clinics really reinvigorated me to get back out there and get back out in the arena, rain or shine, and put in the work. And just being around horse people again was really a breath of fresh air. It's been 5 years since I truly been around horse people. I'll get into it in another episode because I think it deserves its own. But in 2020 was the last time that I competed at a barrel race, and it seems like my life as far as on the horse side has really spiraled out of control, and I've almost went through a I want to call it like a quarter life crisis, or just like I've lost an identity, just trying to figure out who I am, what am I doing? So these last 5 years have been really trying for me. But anyway, so it's nice just being around horse people and, just communicating with like-minded people and the acceptance. I've just been here on my own little farm for the past 5 years in my own head and completely forgot that there's a whole world out there of horse people with great ideas, and they're so welcoming. So it's just nice to go back and be around those people. But at this August clinic in particular, I had a moment with Luke that really reset my mind, body, and spirit. I was at an obstacle, and he was trying to help me get through this obstacle, and I just shut down. I went completely internal, and he recognized it, and he saw it, and he told me to stop, take a step back. And he really just sat with me for like 5 or 10 minutes to help me through what just happened in my head, where I was no longer like riding. I just was kind of on the horse, and inside my own head. And again, I know I keep saying this, but I'll go into this more in depth in another episode because I think that this topic really deserves its own standalone. But we had essentially had a conversation that I've come so far away from the things that truly bring me peace and happiness, especially with the horse. And I feel like I've been chasing all of the wrong things. And he told me that I needed to go back home and do the things that I love and bring the joy in horses back to me. And instantly in my head, that was, running barrels. Like, that's the whole reason why the horse that was under me that day, that's why I bought her, was to get back in the arena again. So alas, my friends, Bulls and Barrels Company was born. Now hear me out. I know that those are rodeo events where there is bulls and barrel racing. But this was born out of me discovering that my new mare is such a catty cow horse and that I love barrel racing. However, cows and barrels didn't sound good, so I went with Bulls and Barrels Co. I immediately started working my mare in the barrel pattern again, and as each ride passed, it was like I never left. You know that giddy feeling you get in your gut when you're lining yourself up to start the pattern and you're looking out at the freshly dragged arena with the 3 barrels set, just waiting for you to turn them? Just having that again really just reinvigorated me, re-inspired me that this is what I want, and this is what I want my life to be. Now, designing this apparel line, when I was younger, I really enjoyed writing and drawing. And honestly, I can't remember the last time I did either one of those things for pleasure. Creating these designs has really been a therapy for me at night while my husband's watching reels. I'm putting around on my computer, coming up with my next favorite t-shirt design. So really, this is just a way of letting my creativity flow. And I think as adults, we let that stuff go. We don't let our creative sides come out. And we hear about it, in the books that we read or, some of the podcasts that we listen to, that we need that creativity. And doing this has really allowed a part of my personality to come through. And a lot of these shirts are inspired by actual things that I felt or, experienced. Like my favorite one is the Patience, Please I Ride a Mare. And I designed that shirt after one night I was out in the arena just frustrated with this mare. She is the first mare that I've ever owned. And I'm just running into these little petty issues of just her being a defiant little turd. And so I came in from a ride and I, instead of just being like upset and ranting about how I made a huge mistake with her, I just sat down on my computer and I came up with this t-shirt design and I was like, all right, I feel better about it. So there's something about designing something and creating something and it's an outlet. So instead of me getting angry, I just sit down on my computer and I'm like, okay, how can I spin this into a cute t-shirt design? And I just ordered that one myself because I'm testing out my website. And that was the shirt that I was like, I need to buy that one just to test out the website and the shipping and all that. So as soon as I get that, I will show you guys. But I'm super excited about that shirt because I know that if any of you ride mares, you understand the frustrations. And I think that you'll really love that shirt. So that is the apparel side of it. And now this podcast, it is so vulnerable to do. And this is way outside my comfort zone. But I want it to be a way to keep me accountable. Making these things public is the most aggressive way to keep me accountable in pursuing this life. I want to share this with you because maybe you're like me and you want to start living in conjunction with your true self, or maybe you are already living it and you can assist me in achieving that goal. I don't really know where the show's going to go. And honestly, I don't want to really plan it. I just want it to be real. I want it to grow naturally so my true self can come through. Somewhere along the way, I drifted from the woman I always thought I'd be. The one that the 5-year-old me would be so proud of. The one she couldn't wait to grow into. And maybe you felt that too. So if so, you're in the right place, and let's find our way back together. I know this was a quick one, guys, but I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me today. And I really appreciate your support. And if you want to reach out and be friends or possibly come on the show, please email me at bullsandbarrels25@gmail.com. That's bulls in as in November, so the letter N, barrels25@gmail. So thank you guys again. And don't worry, the shirt that I spoke about earlier, I'm very close to launching that store, but I'm still kind of ironing out a few little, glitches. I'm the furthest person to know where to start in this. So I just want to make sure that I have everything prepared. That's probably a big fault in me, is I almost get stuck in the planning stage. So I'm really working towards execution. I'm just waiting to see how a couple things work as far as the interface between you guys ordering from the website and my provider, and of course, receiving the product. And I've got something that I'm working on, a little sweepstakes, so that way when the store launches for the first time, we can celebrate. And every purchase that you guys make, you will be entered in a drawing to win what I think is a pretty awesome little prize pack. So stay tuned for that. So thanks again, guys. And let's get out there and earn that ride today.